All right, family, go ahead on tag and share. We're getting ready for Wake Up Wednesday right here on 95.3. So, Kara, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am absolutely wonderful. Now, if you would love to share this to your page, you can. If
Cool.
y'all would love to share this to your page, you can. Okay.
This is exciting.
Is it?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah, absolutely. Family, go ahead on tag and share. We're getting ready for an exciting show on this Wake Up Wednesday. I'm here with Attorney Kara. Kara, let's say your last name.
Roan.
Roan.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
My last name is Mendrick, but my husband's last name is Roan.
Okay.
Just to clarify. I'm the only kid in my family that went to college, so I like to keep Mendrick in there.
Okay, wonderful.
Mhm.
So how you been?
Very, very busy, but also very well.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited that I'm on this side of the table today.
Yeah, because I was on that side of the table last week.
Absolutely.
I had you in the hot seat, and then you had me in the hot seat.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I am excited. Go ahead on family tag and share. Let's get everybody in because we've got an exciting show today. Want to say good afternoon and once again, welcome to the hottest show on 95.3 FM. That's right. It's Wake Up Wednesday right here on Hallelujah. Want to give a big shout out to my co-host, Attorney Mataki Akbar, who's running through, most people run through the airports, but he's running through the courthouse from courthouse to courthouse because why? Things have opened back up and he's taking care of a lot of cases. Want to give a big shout out to him today and thank him for all the work that he's doing in leading our local NAACP. Listen, there's so much going on in and around our city, and we're going to talk with the vice chair of the Leon County School Board, Mr. Darrell Jones, in a few minutes. But listen, the news is happening in our city. Listen, I tell you, it is amazing. I just was reading the other day where the governor is making it clear that he is not going to fund schools that are not wearing masks. Oh my God, it's getting great. And also, you got to know what's happening in and around our local government and our city government. Certainly, we are thankful for what our law enforcement officers are doing in the wake of all the crime that is taking place, how they're fighting to ensure that our neighborhoods are safe. We're going to be talking coming up real soon with our Deputy City Manager, Cynthia Barber. So keep it locked right here. Don't go nowhere. We got so much going on. And we're going to be talking with someone from Tallahassee Memorial Hospital. If you saw the post I did the other day from Dr. Nigel, the Tallahassee Memorial Foundation, talking about the increase of what's happening with the COVID increase. So you want to make plans to keep it right here to the most informative broadcast on 95.3 FM. Keep it locked right here. Don't go nowhere. Listen, I'm coming back to talk to none other than the vice chair of the Leon County School Board. Top of the hour, just a few minutes to give us an update on what's happening. And then I'm going to introduce to you my special guest. Many of you have already stated that you are familiar with her, you're familiar with the firm. So we are going to have a wonderful conversation. And what makes this so good, a week ago, she was interviewing me, but today I'm on the other side. Keep it locked right here. Don't go nowhere. It's 95.3 FM. It's Wednesday Wake Up. I'll be right back.
I'm like mesmerized.
That's a radio voice.
I know.
All right, God bless you. We are back, and joining me on the phone line is none other than the vice chair of the Leon County School Board, Mr. Darrell Jones. Good afternoon, sir. How are you? God bless you. Listen, we're excited to have you on today, and we are thankful for you being with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you and Attorney Mataki Akbar's presence on the air and using your platform to enlighten our neighbors and to keep us informed about events that touch our communities, our families, our neighborhoods, and even including our children.
Right. Well, listen, I wanted to bring you on at the top of the hour just for a few minutes because I know that on last evening you all were in the school board meeting, but I also know prior to that you had a community conversation about something that is really up for debate and it is causing a lot of conversation in our communities. Mask, no mask, kind of like let all of our listeners know where we are, what's going on, how can they get involved, and just give us an update, if you would.
And you know, times are very different than they were just a year ago. You'll recall last year around the same time I hosted a community conversation because for me to say that I am the voice, I must also be the ear of those persons who I provide voice to, the persons who I speak to, and the persons that I speak for. And so these community conversations are important because it gives me a chance to engage with the voters most directly. Although we can't have the town hall meetings like we once would have configured, but we would come together in a space. The virtual options are also available to us, and that's what we did on Monday night. And in talking with those persons, there is a great deal of concern, and rightfully so, about what we know should be optimal, safe environments in our Leon County schools. A year ago, we said that we would make certain that we had a mask that required all persons, both faculty and students and staff, would wear masks when they're on the campus. To that end, a year later, by the time we got to the end of the school year, there have been minimal impacts on our populations in terms of COVID infection compared to other school districts across the country. So here now, as we prepare for the reopening of schools, and with the threat of COVID, here now exponentially worse than it was a year ago, for me, it appeared to be not in the best interest of our students to have them to return to school with a mask optional, but instead with a mask mandate. We have, you know, I've been around long enough to know teachers always catch colds, the flu, and other different childhood maladies because they're in close proximity to our children. Well, if we were afraid for those types of maladies, here now we have a pandemic that has moral implications. So should we not do everything we can to protect everyone? I think some of this mask conversation is an issue of privilege, right? You say you want people. When do we let children and what they like and don't like dictate public policy in the throes of a pandemic?
Right, right.
It is a response. Children, look here, right? I think about last night when we were debating the matter of reverence at 9 o'clock last night. There were children all over Leon County who were arguing with their parents about getting in the tub. But they didn't want to do it.
Right.
Any given morning, children are complaining about wearing rain boots and putting on a jacket and putting on a hat and putting on your gloves. So that's what children do. But it's the responsibility of us to make sure that we protect them. It's not a child's choice. And for the parents to take this posture at the behest of their children as if somehow of wearing a mask create some undue duress, I just think that argument is specious at best. No, we would not prefer to wear a mask, certainly not. But we're in the throes of the pandemic, and those who are elected to lead, I think, ought to assume that responsibility in the fullness of its authority and do it in the best of the public interest, while in terms of public health during a pandemic.
Wow.
That's what I believe.
Well, Mr. Jones, certainly we want to thank you so much for always being a voice of reason, always been a voice of information to empower those who are trying to figure out what direction we go in. I think you said it best when you said it.
Reverend James,
Yes.
you know what else I think is also important? What about the people who drive buses? What about the paraprofessionals and the teachers who have to be engaged? Here now, although we talk about what are the moral implications for children, this Delta variant, this Lambda variant, and now they even have a third, the Gamma variant. All of these variants of this COVID disease, do we think it is in the best interest of persons who have to come to work every day to feed their families? Is it right that they should have to tolerate being working in less than optimal
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, Mrs. Jones, certainly you have made it clear. And I thank you so much for just taking the top of the hour to share with our listeners your position, how you are trying to engage the community to understand that we're in a day and hour where we must be very protective of our children, of our staff, and everybody that's in our space. And the best way to do that, especially when we talk about going back to school, is we got to mask up. So I want to thank you for your leadership. I want to thank you for all the virtual town hall meetings that you have been having to give insight to such a debatable issue that's before our community. That's the vice chair of our Leon County School Board, Mr. Darrell Jones, and he is,
Reverend,
yes.
wearing is caring.
Listen, I'm going to tag that. Wearing is caring. Listen, for those of you who
Wearing is caring.
Listen, for those of you who are listening to us through the airways, I want you to go ahead on your Facebook page and just say wearing is caring. As a matter of fact, Darrell, that's going to be the campaign. Wearing is caring. Certainly want to give a big shout out to Vice Chair Darrell Jones for joining us today, giving us an update on what's happening when it comes to our children getting ready to go back to school, when it comes to masks. Thank you so much. Well, as we always do, it's our pleasure and our privilege as we get ready to shift now for the remaining time that we have here on Wake Up Wednesday to talk about what we're going to talk about. And what we're going to talk about today is a show that I really feel and believe is awakening our communities. It's awakening cities. It's awakening states. As a matter of fact, it can possibly become the model as to what city government, what state government needs to be about when it talks about coming back strong. With me today is none other than the young lady who interviewed me, who is a host of Come Back Strong, attorney Carrie Rowan. Is that right, Carrie?
It is. Thank you so much for having me, Reverend. It's a pleasure to be here. I feel like I'm sitting in front of a superstar.
Stop it. You know, it's amazing you said that because on yesterday, it was, what day was my birthday? 26th. On the 26th, Carrie, I got so many birthday wishes. I start to post and say, thank you. You making me feel like a celebrity.
You are.
But listen, I am so delighted to have you here today. And I am delighted that I'm sitting in the chair asking the questions as opposed to last week sitting with you asking the questions. Let's talk first of all about the title of this show, Come Back Strong.
Right. Come back stronger.
Strong. Yeah.
Yep.
How did that birth? How did it birth?
That's a great question. So we're a personal injury law firm, right? And all of our clients have gone through some pretty hard times by virtue of a car accident or a slip and fall or being injured somehow, a faulty product, say medical malpractice. And you join them in their life and in their journey, and you guide them over sometimes a series of years of how to come back from that injury. And once you get knocked down and you lose your job and you lose your house and you're in pain and you're suffering, your whole life has changed. So we guide our clients through that process on how to go from being knocked down to standing up again, and not just standing up again and being whole again, but being better than they were before.
Wow. Well,
So
I got to put a plug there because I want somebody who's listening to this broadcast to understand that life can knock you down.
yeah, boy, can it.
But the power to get back up not only rests with you, but it rests with those who encircle you. And so at Face and Brooks, let me make sure I don't put the and. At Face and Brooks, you say, realizing that not only are you serving a legal need,
Right.
there are other aspects of a client's life that you all are looking
That's right.
into.
From a purely humanistic standpoint, spiritual needs, relationship needs, medical needs, all kinds of different needs, just the need to be able to pay your bills and be compensated for pain and suffering. But it has become so rewarding and enriching to our lives as lawyers to be part of somebody's process in healing and in finding that hope and reaching out and becoming a better person for some hardship that they've been through.
Wow. And after seeing, I guess, clients after clients, putting the pieces of their lives back together, and the reward of seeing them being able to live life again, I'm sure has with it so many benefits until this whole idea of Come Back Stronger was birthed.
Right. And I think it was originally birthed too from Jimmy Fasig's book. I don't know if you know, but he wrote a book called Come Back Stronger. And his journey was very similar to your journey in the sense that, he got knocked down. I don't know how much your listeners know about it, but
They know a lot.
okay. Well, he got knocked down and he went to prison, federal prison, and came back and became a member of the Florida Bar and now is a very successful lawyer. So I think through that vision and at the beginning of COVID, we were trying to figure out a way of how do you reach people and let them know that everybody has hope, and hope is so powerful, and you can overcome and you can get there and you can be a lot better for it because of the difficult journey.
Wow. Listen, those of you who are listening to the broadcast, we are engaging in a very powerful conversation just on the title of a show that airs right here in our local area and in cities throughout the state of Florida, Come Back Stronger. And the host of that show is Carrie Rowan, who is an attorney and a partner over at Basin Brooks. And one of the things that I want you to know as listeners, I want you to know that your life may take a hit. Your life may encounter a crash, not even an accident crash. You may have a spiritual crash. You may have a mental crash, a financial crash. Whatever that crash is, you can come back stronger. And we're going to hear some amazing stories today with Carrie to talk about some of the people that have been a part of the many episodes that have taken place on Come Back Stronger. And Carrie, one of the things that I want to ask you today is that when you hear these stories, you see the lives being transformed through the legal system, but when you hear the personal stories, what does that do?
Sometimes it makes me cry. Honestly, you made me tear up last week when I interviewed you. It makes me a better person to hear these stories, and it makes me feel inspired. It makes me feel hopeful for my own life and so many other people. It's just such inspiration. It really is. And to witness somebody's strength and somebody's resolve is such a powerful thing. I feel like I am so lucky to be able to interview people like you and the other people that I've interviewed. I really am. I'm very fortunate.
Wow. When we talk about a law firm, when it comes to Basin Brooks, you all have your hand on the pulse of seeing people's lives, not just change in the court system, but we're talking about outside of the court system. So many community engagement acts, so many. I was out after we said we was going to do the interview. I went on to look at, I think there's a faith talk that you all do.
Right. Jimmy does. Yeah.
And all of this is enriching the lives of individuals.
Well, that's our mission. So we've turned our mission and what we're interested in as people into our business, right? So we have the Fasig Brooks business, the law firm, but we are all so very passionate just about helping people. We're just very compassionate, loving people who just want to see others succeed and have better lives. So we're outreaching in many other ways. We've got a program on Fasig Brooks. We've started a women's empowerment group called the Empower Plan.
Wait. We have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I have so many women who are listening to this broadcast, so many women who lead women groups. And I know I was on the site and I saw where you all were interviewing Audrey Pittman about art. So I did a little research. So tell us a little bit about that. How did that happen?
Well, all this kind of started at the beginning of COVID, where everybody was so down and worried and scared and full of fear. We're like, we have this compassion. We want to reach out to people. So we started the Women's Empowerment Group. It's called Empower Plan, and it can be found on Facebook. And we every Thursday at 4:30 we do an Empower Hour, which is like a panel discussion on Facebook Live, and we have guests on, like Audrey. But it's all about women lifting each other up and not holding each other down and not being critical because, oh, she's doing that and she should do this and look at how she looks. It's about supporting and empowering women to be themselves. It wasn't until 1971 that a woman could have her own credit card. It was only 100 years ago that we were even allowed to vote. That's not that long ago. There are so many women in positions of power, and we want to pull each other up into higher positions of power and not hold each other down.
Wow. I'm going to have to take a break because you have said something that I feel like it's just not for women. I think it's for men.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
think it's for families.
Yeah.
I think it's for all of our listeners.
Yeah.
we have to be in a place to empower each other. It's not about us being able to look at the status of someone and try to diminish who they are and what they have accomplished. But the greatest joy is that we become a fuel booster to help elevate what they're doing. Because as we do that, someone's going to do that for us.
Absolutely.
Keep it locked right here. Don't go nowhere. Listen, tag, share. Those of you who listen to your radios in the car, at the office, walking, jogging, whatever you're doing, I'm going to open up the phone lines. Maybe you might want to have a question. Karen, you don't mind?
No, not at all. I would love it.
850-671-1450. Maybe you want to have a question. Maybe you want to ask, what should I do? And by no means am I saying that Karen is licensed, what I want to say, clinical. But what I can say, she has enough episodes under her belt to give you some hopeful insight that you can come back strong. Keep it locked right here. Don't go nowhere. Let this song bless you, and I'll be right back stronger than before. Don't go nowhere. 95.3 FM. I'm Greg James. This is Wake Up Wednesday. Okay, listen, those of you who are on Facebook, go ahead on tag, share. I want you to go ahead on and put in the comments in the thread session, I can come back stronger. Go ahead on tag, share. Get all your friends in. Want to say good afternoon to you, Stephanie. Bless you, Carolyn. How are you, Pamela? Bless you. Go ahead on tag and share. So listen, when we come back, I want to talk about basically your role, how to just be added to the list of things to do,
right.
And some of the most rewarding stories that you've been able to interview and walk away with.
I have so many.
You have so many?
Yeah. I mean, all of you, you're so good at your job.
Really?
Yes, and you're mesmerizing.
Oh my God,
He
Greg,
is
how is this?
mesmerizing.
It's wonderful. No, I've had experience in it.
Thank
You got it.
radio, yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, you was in radio?
I've dabbled in it. I was in newspaper most, but I worked in radio too, part of it.
Okay, wonderful.
Didn't you
Wonderful.
call games somewhere?
Yeah.
Hey, Rick, what's going on? What's the name of the law firm? The law firm is Faison Brooks.
Yep, Facing Brooks.
Faison Brooks. I
It's-
can come back strong. Yes, you can, Stephanie.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the name, Rick.
FASIG.
Somebody go ahead on and put that in the thread. Faison Brook. FASIG
SIG.
BROOK.
Yep.
All right, put it in.
Hard name to remember sometimes.
Want to say good afternoon, and we are back. It's Wednesday Wake Up, and I'm talking with Carrie Royan, a partner at Faison Brooks over there. And let me tell you what's so amazing about this. In the studio with me is an amazing team that's here, and they're making sure that that brand. I mean, sometimes I thought Faison Brooks was chasing me down because every time I turned the corner, I saw a bus, I saw a sign.
That's right, we're
I
following.
was like, they following me. But we're talking with Carrie, who is a partner over at Faison Brooks, and she is the host of Come Back Stronger, a interview that I did on last week. And I want to let you all know that that's going to be airing real soon. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But I want to dive more back into the Come Back Stronger segment, because when I left on last week, I left with so much hope, because the broadcast has a way of giving the viewers an opportunity to see people in a different light.
Yeah.
Most people, there's a song that we play here that say, you saw me when I fall, but you didn't see me when I get up. I think the program gives the audience an opportunity to see people rise.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole point of it. And to know, for anybody that is currently fallen or down or struggling, they can see people like you be interviewed, or people like Marsha Dahl, or so many people that we've interviewed, and hear them talk about it was hard. And I did have to dig deep, but I was strong enough, and I believed in myself when nobody else believed in me, and I did it. And they can watch somebody like you and say, you know what, I can do it too.
Absolutely. And, one of the most amazing things for those of you who are listening, it's these moments where the darkest moments that we're in, where some of the greatest gems are being produced. And it was during the COVID time, the pandemic, that this show was birthed.
That's right.
To give hope to those who felt like there was no hope.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, you're now into about episode 38, maybe?
that's right. I think we have 10 more episodes till we hit 50.
Wow.
And we're in Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Panama City, and Pensacola.
Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Panama City, Pensacola.
Yeah, within a year.
Within a year.
Mhm.
Wow. Let's talk about over the last 38 episodes. Let's talk about some of the amazing stories. Before we highlight mine, we're
I
going to
was about
save
to
mine
say-
for last.
okay.
We're going to save my story for last. But let's talk about over the last 38 episodes. What have been some of them?
You know, there's so many. There's a couple from Jacksonville that stand out. That's where we started the show. A son and his mom, Martin and Melva Folsom, they were homeless. He lived in the shelter while he went to high school. He took the city bus to go to high school. He became valedictorian of his class.
Wow.
He grew up without a father. The mom was actually on the run from the father because he was abusive. So abusive that she had to hide from him or he was going to kill them. So they moved a lot, were homeless, living in shelters, and he became valedictorian and is now going to college. I mean, those are the kind of things that make the hair on my arm stand up, you know?
Wow.
Another guy in Jacksonville.
Can I just plug
Please
in on this?
please do.
For those of you who are listening, I want you to hear that it does not matter what your circumstance presents you with. What does matter is, do you have the power to overcome that? Homeless,
Mm-hmm.
valedictorian,
And a kid.
and a kid.
Yeah.
Had every reason to give up, every reason to walk away from school, every reason to turn to the street.
That's right.
But he did not let his situation label him.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're going to make me cry.
Don't do it.
There's so many. There's another guy named Connor Miller out of Jacksonville. And Connor was a baseball player in college and started using opioids, over-the-counter pills, got addicted, was in and out of rehab, in and out of addiction, multiple arrests. Finally, he didn't have a good relationship with the cops. Finally, on his last arrest, where he should have died because he hit a tree, ran his car into a tree, the cop said, "You can do better than this." That one cop, that one sentence changed his life forever. And now he and his father own a multi-million-dollar trucking company in Jacksonville. But what he's doing is he's doing like
Wow.
you. He speaks his story, he speaks his truth, and he shares it. You know, it's embarrassing, and he's very vulnerable to share that, much like you. And it helps so many people to hear that story. You know, I mean, he was literally laying in a ditch after having hit a tree, you know, high as a kite, and has come back, and now he's a father and owns a multi-million-dollar trucking company.
Wow. You know, Karen, in the midst of all of what you said, the one thing that really resonated was the cop said to him.
There's always that one thing. Yeah.
I mean, hearing
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
who understands the human side, even though I'm law enforcement and even though this badge gives me authority, I understand the human side, and I understand that you can do better than this.
Well, and part of what I love about these stories is I love asking people, what was that one thing? And I think I asked you that question too. And I remember what your answer was. What was that one thing? And there was a woman named Renata Bryant from Jacksonville also. She got married when her husband was in the military. They had a few kids. Husband was abroad, came back, husband left her. So now she's raising 3 kids, trying to figure out, what am I going to do? So she's working at Walmart at night. You know, a smooth, good-looking guy comes into Walmart every night, sees her at the cash register, starts taking her out, says, "I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of your kids." They move in with him. Then all of a sudden, he is sending her to parties on her own, where they're having her, having her have sex with other men at the parties. And she calls her boyfriend, why am I doing this? What is going on? Why are you having me do this? And he's like, "This is how it's going to be. Take a little bit of drugs, take a little bit of cocaine, do a little bit of crack. It'll make you feel better." So now she's addicted to crack, and he's making her sleep with his friends, right? So what it turns into is a sex trafficking thing, where she was the PTA vice president, and now she is, being pimped out by her own boyfriend. She's trying to leave him. He threatens to kill her, her mother, and her children if she leaves him. She's addicted to cocaine, and she turns out to have to sleep with 5 or 6 people a week. So again, her turning point, multiple arrests for prostitution. Her turning point was, and again, it was law enforcement who said, "You are better than this. let me refer you over to a place in Jacksonville called Rethreaded, which saves women from trafficking. She got involved with them, and now she's a paralegal at a personal injury law firm in Jacksonville.
Wow.
Yep, getting married. She has her children back. What a journey she has been on. And what she does is she saves other women from sex trafficking rings in Jacksonville. She goes out onto the street and saves them, just like that cop did for her.
Wow.
Yeah. She was PTA vice president. So,
Wow.
you know.
Wow. So listen, those of you who are listening to the broadcast, listen, if this show is blessing your life, I want you to call me, 850-671-1450. You know why? Because these are the stories that you never hear. These are the stories of transformation. And this is what our society must embrace. This is what our country, our nation must embrace. And that is the comeback strong story. That is the second chance. That is, life is not over because you fall. Life is not over because you make a mistake. Here it is. You have given me three powerful, and I'm sure there's so much more.
So many.
You have given me three powerful stories of a valedictorian who was homeless, a young man who was addicted to drugs, multiple arrests. Now he has a multi-million-dollar trucking company. A young lady who at the cashier did not know that she was getting ready to be a cash register. My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
But all she knows, she was told, I'm going to provide you with this lifestyle. But that lifestyle did not change who she was.
Right.
Her whole life has changed now. Now she's a paralegal. 850-671-1450. Those of you who are on Facebook, if these stories are blessing your life, these are comeback strong stories. And the reason why Kara is with me today is because you need to know that there are people who are bouncing back. But today we are celebrating a show that is validating them to say, we appreciate the strength, the fortitude that you have to keep going, even in the midst of a crash. So, Carrie, I mean, these stories are, I mean, how do you all find it?
Sometimes they find us, but we've got a great producer with the show, Greg Bird, and he finds people. He scours the internet, he researches.
Wow.
We found a woman named Maggie Cook. She lives in Tampa. And Maggie grew up as an orphan in South America, right? And there was no food at the orphanage. So she and some of her brothers and sisters had to go out into the rainforest and live there and kill animals in order to eat.
Wow.
And she wound up going to a school eventually and saw Michael Jordan playing basketball. And she's like, I want to do that. Well, of course, she's, in the middle of South America, it was poor. Well, she wound up starting to play basketball. She eventually made it onto the Mexican national women's basketball team. They were on a church mission up in West Virginia, and they started playing a little bit of basketball on the side. The coach of the women's basketball team at University of West Virginia just happened to see her, offered her a full ride scholarship to University of West Virginia, where she went and played basketball. But, so she fell down and got back up once. She fell down again because when she graduated University of West Virginia, she was Mexican in West Virginia. Nobody would hire her or give her a job. So she went and lived in the woods because that's what she knew. That's how she knew how to do it.
Uh-huh.
But she, some of her teammates let her live in the dorm with them, go back and live in the dorms. And she started cooking for her teammates. And she was making them fresh salsa and guacamole and things like that. And I think there was a contest, and she entered her friends entered her salsa in the contest, and she won the contest. And ultimately that wound up to her receiving, I think it was like a $350 million sale to Whole Foods of her salsa. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? So, but those things, you grow up as an orphan, you're killing your own food with a knife, and she still has that knife to this day.
Wow.
In order to eat. But she had that resolve and that wherewithal. So now what she does to give back is she has built an orphanage. She doesn't call it an orphanage, but she's built a home in Mexico to house children that don't have families, where they can be raised and educated and fed properly and their healthcare taken care of, and then them given a better life. So she's doing that actively in Mexico. Wow.
So all of this has come out of the pandemic.
Yeah, all of it. And it's so inspirational, and it's such an amazing discovery. But you know what the best part of it is that these people, yourself included, Reverend, you are better off now you're a better person and you're doing better things, greater things, touching so many people's lives. And you wouldn't be there if you hadn't have gone through those struggles. So it's almost like what was horrible had to happen because you would never be so amazing now if you hadn't gone through all that horror, you know?
Yeah. And this is what's so amazing for you, those of you who are listening to the broadcast. We are hearing from Carrie, who is one of the partners at Face and Brooks and hosting the Come Back Stronger television series that airs on Saturdays. And we're going to give you more about the time. But what's so amazing is that these stories are heartfelt. And what happens is that as you hear them, you become motivated within yourselves to know that this is something that I can do. My dreams may be delayed, but they don't have to be denied. My hope may be deferred, but it does not have to be destroyed. Because why? You can come back stronger. You can come back better. You can come back much wiser. And certainly, I am just grateful to know today, for those of you who are listening to the broadcast, that our society must begin to embrace second chances. Hey, keep it locked right here. Don't go nowhere. I will be right back to finish up this amazing conversation. For those of you who are listening to us on Facebook, I want you to go ahead on and put some hearts on that screen if this is blessing you. And for those of you who are listening to us back, whether it's through the app, whether it's in your office, I want you to know that this broadcast is really designed to change your life. All right, keep it locked right here. I will be back, 95.3 FM. This is Wake Up Wednesday. All right, and I'll be right back. Let this song bless you. Hey, listen, God bless you all. I see those hearts on the screen. All right, bless you. Hello, bless you. Okay, go ahead on. I see those hearts on the screen, and certainly we are grateful for all of you. Go ahead on, tag and share. This is the Come Back Strong moment, and this is a moment where I'm talking with Carrie, who is the host of the show, and she had the opportunity to interview me on last week, and we're going to talk a little bit about that real soon. Great, how's everything going?
Oh, fantastic.
Is
That turn of phrase, you got it down.
Really?
Well, from cash register to being the register.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Stop
He
it.
did
That
one.
just, I just
I
stood
think
up.
both of us
and
was like, yeah. Good job, man. Yeah.
You got the gift.
He does.
Hey,
He does.
The PR. Oh, that's you. I'm trying. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, hold on. Hey, all right, Patricia, you're enjoying the show. All right, go ahead on tag, share. Let's get everybody involved. And okay. Well, God bless you. Listen, we are back, and it's Wake Up Wednesday right here with Carrie Rowan of the powerful episode, powerful series, Come Back Strong, which was birthed out of a pandemic. And there are so many of you who the pandemic has caused fresh ideas to come forth. And so even though it was a dark time beginning March of 2020, we've been able to see some amazing things come forth. And one of the amazing things that has come forth is this series. And they're on episode 38 of Come Back Stronger. Had never had an idea about it, never knew about it until I was invited. And once I was invited, I started looking into it. So I want to let you, the listener audience, know that Come Back Stronger is a broadcast that airs every Saturday. Let's talk about the airing, and let's talk about the times that air so people who are in the area can tune in.
Well, it's on 7:30 on Saturday nights on WCTV. And what's funny about that is I very rarely see it myself. But I was at the nail salon on Saturday with my girls, and I saw it. It came on TV, and I don't normally look like I look like on TV.
Really?
And everybody just ripped me to shreds.
So you were sitting there,
in my sweatpants, getting my pedicure.
and it shows up.
Oh yeah, it shows up.
Now let me ask you
Yeah.
this: did the people in nail salon know that you was the host?
They didn't believe it. They were like, "That's not you." I'm like, "Yeah, it is. I promise."
Wow. So Saturdays, WCTV at 7:30.
7:30. Yep.
Okay.
And in Pensacola, it's on at 10 o'clock Sunday mornings on WFGX, and in Panama City, 6 p.m. on Saturday nights on WECP.
Wow.
Yeah. And you can catch it on YouTube or on Roku on Greater Works Network. right?
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Well, listen, I want you to get ready to tune in this Saturday. I'm going to give you the date that I will be making my debut on Come Back Stronger. It's going to be, when is it going to be?
August 14th.
August 14th.
Yep, 7:30 Saturday night. So if you can't watch it, DVR it, tape it, do whatever you got to do. Catch it on YouTube afterwards. And
August 14th.
if you can't remember any of these times, go to our website, which is facetbrooks.com, and you can find information about the show on facetbrooks.com.
Well, listen, I'll tell you what we're going to do, Patricia. We're going to have a watch party. Everybody's going to be separated. And we're going to wear our masks. August 14th at what time again? 7:30?
7:30.
7:30.
WCTV.
WCTV. It's happening. Come Back Stronger. Well, listen, we get ready to spend a little time to talk about the interview that took place with myself along with Carrie. I was in the hot seat. But for those of you who are listening to the broadcast, I am talking with Carrie, who is the host of the series Come Back Stronger, who is a partner over at Facing Brooks. And certainly we want to applaud Dana and Jimmy and the whole team for all of the work that you're doing in the community. I mean, their handprint is upon so many of our community activities, and we are certainly grateful.
Thank you. We love it.
For that.
We love being part of this community. We love it.
Okay, Verna, Lady V, you got it down. August 14th. All right.
All right.
Put watch party. We're going to have a watch party, and we'll take close attention to that. Before I talk about the story of Greg James on Come Back Stronger, I want to ask you, when the work that you all are doing in the community, you mentioned the women's empowerment, and there were so many more things that were birthed from that. And I want to kind of like give you an opportunity to just tell us a little bit more about some of the new things that you all are doing besides the empowerment hour, which happens on Thursday with women.
So the empowerment plan, or the Empower Plan, excuse me, is on, that can be found on Facebook. And that's open to everybody. It's open to the public. So we encourage, women and girls to get on there. And men should also be, what man shouldn't empower a woman? What man doesn't love his mother, or his wife or his daughter or whatever woman is in your life? So we encourage men to be on it too, because we need men to empower women. And then Jimmy has a page too. He's got a Facebook group as well. Remind me of the name of Jimmy's group?
Come Back Stronger.
Oh, it's the Come Back Stronger group.
Mhm.
That's right. But he used to have a goal crushing masterminds group as well, which Jimmy would wake up at 5:00 in the morning with anybody who wanted to join his group about setting goals and maintaining your goals and crushing your goals.
Right.
So now he's kind of blended that with his Come Back Stronger group. And we do find a lot of people for the Come Back Stronger show through the group. But I do want to say to your listeners, if you know of anybody who would like to be on our show, just reach out to us at comebackstronger@facingbrooks.com and send us an email for good suggestions for a guest.
That's right. So listen, those of you who listen to the broadcast, you heard the invitation. If you know someone who has a Come Back Strong story, and that is really an incredible story, then you need to reach out to them at Facing Brooks and share that information. They would love to be engaged in that. Well, let's talk about the opportunity that I had to sit down and share with you on last week as we prepared for what's going to air on August 14th. But before that, can I talk about the story of the young lady who you just interviewed?
Oh, yes, I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah.
Her name is Nilufar Rahmani, and she's a captain in the Afghani Air Force.
Wow.
So when she was young, I interviewed her right after you. And when she was young, so she was born a girl into a family of, I think, 3 girls and 1 boy in Afghanistan. And at the time, you were shamed if you had girls. If you had daughters, you were shamed. You were doing something wrong. So girls were not allowed to go to school. This is under Taliban, before the United States went in 2003 or 2002. And she was not allowed to go to school. She and her sisters couldn't go to school. So her father and her mother moved them out of Afghanistan over to Pakistan, where they lived in a refugee camp in tents on dirt, no school, no running water. They had to go get buckets of water to come back to the tent. Her parents taught her to read and write. And she would look up into the sky and she would watch the birds in the sky, because that was really all you could do except play in the dirt. And she would think, those birds are free. I would love to be free someday.
Wow.
And her dad told her that he always wanted to be a pilot. He always wanted to fly airplanes. So usually in that culture, the sons do what the fathers want them to do to fulfill the father's dreams. And she thought, you know what, I'm going to fulfill my dad's dreams and I'm going to be a pilot. I'm going to be like that bird someday. So ultimately, the United States invaded. We got rid of the Taliban government and we kind of, put in our own, government and helped them establish what they have now. And she was allowed to go to school. And she became the first female pilot in the Afghan Air Force, and through the help of the United States government. And what's interesting about that is that that's not where it ended for her. That was not her pinnacle of success, because she didn't have a place to put on a uniform. The generals in the Air Force were telling her that she was shaming their uniform because she was a woman. Her brother got shot twice because his sister was in the Air Force. And she ultimately had to leave the country and leave the Air Force and go to India. She got chased out of Afghanistan just recently. And now she's in the United States on asylum in Florida. She's trying to get a citizenship here so she can become a member of the United States Air Force and fight for the country that saved her. And it's just it's so powerful to hear that her own family was persecuting her. Her brother, they tried to kill her brother twice, merely because she was born a girl. She was born a woman. And her whole family was persecuted. So she's incredible. And she was actually just interviewed on CNN by Anderson Cooper, 2 days after I interviewed her for the Comeback Stronger show.
Wow. So Anderson Cooper is tracking you all.
I know. You better watch your back, Anderson. I'm coming for you.
Wow. Well, I mean, these are amazing stories that are life-changing.
Absolutely.
And certainly, with a platform like this, it gives the world an opportunity to find hope again. It gives the world an opportunity to have faith that it's not over. It gives the world the opportunity to understand that there's still more chapters to the book that you're writing of your life. So certainly, when you were telling me earlier before we went on air about that, I wanted our listeners to hear that. Because guess what? Against all odds, she was able to see her dreams come to pass.
All odds.
And I don't know who I'm talking to right now, but perhaps you are in a place where you feel that the odds are against you. I don't know who I'm talking to now, but you're in a place where you feel that your dreams have been shattered and everything is broken into pieces. I don't know who's listening to this broadcast right now, but you feel that you cannot come back. But you've heard story of a young man and his mother who was homeless. He goes on to be the valedictorian. You heard a story of a young man who was in and out of jail like a revolving door because he was stuck on opiates. You heard how the law enforcement officer said to him, your life is better than this. And now he went from drugs to a multi-million-dollar business. I want to tell you, those of you who are listening to this broadcast who feel that you're at wit's end, you're getting ready to bounce back. You are getting ready to bounce back. As a matter of fact, when I said that, I was thinking about being at the North Florida Fair and walking by this booth where the guy gives you so many baseballs to throw, and you throw at this target, and when you hit the target, it bounces back. I don't know what causes that object to bounce back after you have if you've thrown so hard, but it bounces back. I want to tell you, there's something inside of you just like that that's getting ready to cause you to bounce back. Listen, I feel that you needed to hear what you just heard. Back to our regular scheduled program. Carrie, listen, that was amazing because somebody needed that.
Well, hope is so powerful. You just have to hope and believe in yourself. When nobody else wants to believe in you, just believe in yourself.
Wow. Listen, I'm going to do this with the time that I have remaining. 850-671-1450. I want you to call because I want to agree with you that you're going to bounce back. Somebody's listening right now. You feel that all hope is gone. I want you to call right now. 850-671-1450, because this is your bounce back moment. This is your moment to get up from where you are. This is your moment to rise. This is your moment to get up and say to the world that you counted me out, But Greg James and Carrie Rohan just told me I can come back stronger. Keep it locked right here. Don't go nowhere. We're going to help you to come back stronger and better.
Chill bumps.
I know.
We got somebody.
Do you want me to put these on?
This is not the time to lose your focus. Got a word to do for the Lord, and you cannot afford to lose your way. You come too far from where you start.
Want to say good afternoon, caller. You are on the air.
Hello. Hi.
Yes, we're here. Can you hear us? Well, we want to say to you that being a mother, we want to say that catching a glimpse of what you just heard, you are on the path to coming back strong. What would you say to this young lady, Carrie?
Absolutely. I mean, you are already a powerful, successful woman as a mother and a grandmother. You don't need to do anything more in your life to succeed and be an amazing, inspirational person for everybody else.
So I want to pray with you right now. Father, in the name of Jesus, I want to just believe you, God, that you're going to continue to order her steps. And I thank you that right now you're putting people in her path that's going to help empower her, encourage her, and even enlighten her. And I decree that every obstacle now turns into a stepping stone, and the eyes of her understanding become open, that she can go further and she can go higher. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Thank you. God bless you. 850-671-1450. That's the number to call. You can call right now. And listen, I tell you, I don't know how, Carrie, we have turned this into the Comeback Strong hotline, but there's the caller on the line. Good afternoon, caller. You're on the air. Bless you, man. How are you? Amen. Well, Marvin, it's already done. I'm going to ask Carrie if she would just encourage you even the more about how powerful it is to come back stronger, Carrie.
I don't know if you know Reverend James's story, but his story was incredible. And if he can do it, you can do it. Anybody can do it that's listening. Really. I mean, he's a wonderful, wonderful man and such an inspiration to all.
Well, Marcus, let's do this. Let me pray with you. Father, I thank you for Marcus, and I thank you that now that this is a moment that just not being strong is enough, but being stronger. So we thank you that you're empowering him to be stronger in every area of his life, in the area of business, in the area of family, God, in the area of being a good citizen. You are making him stronger and wiser. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. God bless you, brother. We love you. All right. Well, listen, for those of you who are listening to the broadcast, I'm here with Minister Carrie. Isn't that amazing? But listen, this has been so amazing. And I mean, I just think that the moment that we have had here talking about stories of people's lives that have been transformed, that have been empowered, I think it has resonated with our audience.
I hope it does, and it continues to. Really, every single person that's listening has had challenges and obstacles to overcome. And every single person has the strength within them. You're stronger than you know, but everybody has the strength to believe in themselves and pull themselves out of it.
Wow. Listen to what you just said. everybody
Mm-hmm.
has the strength to believe in themselves and to pull themselves out of it.
And use your support system, your family, your church, your pastor, your friends, people who really care about you and bring positivity into your life. Use them to lean on.
Wow. Well, listen, I tell you, this has been amazing. And the thing that is so amazing is that I'm almost out of time, but I'm never out of words because this show is amazing. August 14th. I thought we was going to get a chance to talk about it, but some kind of way, Carrie said something that just shifted, Greg, our whole conversation. And there are those who were listening to the broadcast at that moment needed to know that if this young lady can grow up in an area whereby being a daughter is frowned upon,
Just being a girl.
just being a girl is frowned upon, and yet take a look at the birds and let the birds become her aspiration of being a pilot
Mm-hmm.
and fulfill it, then there is nothing that you face that you can't overcome. As a matter of fact, you can. As a matter of fact, you will come back stronger. August 14th at 7:30, WCTV.
I will tell you, so I've done 38 shows, right?
Mhm.
My partner, Kimmy Hogan, does some of them too, but the interview with you last week was by far one of the best. And I think that everybody needs to watch it. I went home, had dinner with my parents and my children. I spent about an hour telling them all about you at dinner.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And the waiter even got involved. The waiter's like, who is this that you're talking about? And what is his story? So, and I truly mean that. I hope that everybody watches it, because if people realize where you were and can compare that with where you are now, and they think about that every day and they share that story, it's going to help so many, so many. It is, your story is very powerful, and I hope everybody watches on August 14th.
Wow. Well, listen, I tell you, we're going to have a big watch party on August 14th, and we're going to get together and make sure that we watch it together. It's the Greg James story, life after life. Isn't that amazing? Listen, it's been amazing here with you, Carrie, and certainly you have been an inspiration to our audience today, just by looking at the hearts that are coming across the screen, just by knowing that once we open up the phone lines, the calls came in, and there are people who are still waiting to call, but we're out of time, so I'm going to have to catch them on next week. What would you say to the thousands of people that are listening to us today?
I think just to grab onto that hope, find it wherever you can find it. If you find it in the birds, or you find it in your friends or your mother or whomever, just grab onto that hope and don't let go. And everything that I've heard from the people that I've interviewed is to believe in yourself. When nobody else believes in you and everybody's telling you no, and you can't, and you won't, and you shall not, just to keep believing in yourself and keep pressing forward, putting one foot in front of the other every day. And the next day is going to get better, and every day is going to get better.
Wow. Listen, Karen, tell us a little bit about Faison Brooks with the time we have remaining.
Oh, okay. All right. So Faison Brooks is a personal injury law firm, and we represent people who have been injured due to the fault of somebody else. Car crashes, slip and fall, trip and fall, faulty products, wrongful death, negligent security case. You know, a lot of people wind up getting injured at an apartment complex where they might get shot or something like that. Those are negligent security cases. All kinds of cases. And you know what? Even if you don't have a personal injury case, you can call us if you need a referral for a family lawyer or a criminal defense lawyer or something like that, and we'll get you pointed in the right direction.
Wow. Well, listen, I did a show about 3 weeks ago, week after week. It's called Shepherds Bleed Just Like Sheep. Do the pastors have a personal injury case?
Absolutely. Yes. Everybody bleeds.
Everybody bleeds. Well, listen, certainly want to thank you so much for coming to be with us today, sharing with our audience about the show Come Back Stronger that's aired right here in our local area every Saturday at 7:30 WCTV. And it's also viewed in Pensacola, Panama City, Jacksonville,
And growing.
And this was all birthed out of the pandemic.
It was.
So don't you let a dark place stop you from producing a beautiful picture. As a matter of fact, the days of old, we had to take the camera once we took the picture and put it in a dark place, and then we had to shake it, and that's what they've done with this show here, and it's stronger and better. Hey, listen, this is Greg James, and I want to say that you have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. And don't forget, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and guess what? I will see you on Sunday. Let me thank all of you. Who sent birthday shout outs to me on July 26th. Thank you so much. Some of you have sent some amazing inbox messages that just really encourage me. Some of you have said some wonderful things about how I help you, I help the family member. Listen, your words gave me the fuel that I needed to keep on keeping on. And guess what? I want you to know that I appreciate you the most. And I certainly want you to know I thank you for all that you do to support what we do in the community. This is Greg James. This has been Wake Up Wednesday, and I want you to keep it on. Certainly, don't forget, August 14th, 7:30 WCTV. It's Come Back Stronger. It's with Carrie. Until then, you be blessed.